Hello, namaste everyone. I'm Govindapuri. Today I'm going to talk about literature and literary theories. This video is prepared for my students, particularly master's degree students at Nepal Open University and bachelor's fourth year students at Janta Multiple Campus. I hope this video will be supportive to understand literature and literary theories. This is only the introductory video, and uh, this will be helpful to you for preparing your exam and understanding the literature. So let's get started. I'm sure you all know what literature is and what are the literary theories or literary criticisms. In this video, I'll be talking about the uh, literature, what literature is, and what are the literary genres, and also I'll be talking about the qualities of literature, or we can say what makes literature distinct from other ordinary writings. Let's get started. First, literature. So, literature refers to written or spoken works that expresses ideas, feelings, emotions, and stories through language. Literature, when we say literature, it is quite different genres. It encompasses a wide range of creative and intellectual works, including fictions and non-fiction, like prose, poetry, drama, and essays. Literature serves various purposes. For example, entertaining, informing, inspiring, or challenging readers. So when you read literature, it will helpful to inspire yourself, or it also provides entertainment. It informs about the society, life, politics, and the culture of the contemporary time, and it reflects cultural values, historical context, and the diverse human experiences. Literature is the uh, window to see the world, to see the universe, or the society, life, culture, politics, and many more things. So, literary works often involve the use of artistic language, symbolism, and narrative techniques to convey meaning and evoke emotional responses. Uh, so, when we read literature, it should, know, uh, arouse a kind of feelings uh, on us when we read, which we enjoy it. So literature refers both written works as well as oral, especially those considered to have artistic or intellectual value. So when we study literature, it will give us a kind of insight about the society, about this. Now, it should be in the artistic form. As I talked earlier, it encompasses a wide range of creative and intellectual expression. So it includes fiction, non-fiction, poetry, drama, essays, and many more. It serves as a mirror of society. So literature particularly reflects the society or social life, what is going on in the society. It reflects its values, beliefs, and cultural expressions as well. It can, as I said to you earlier, it can entertain, inform, provoke thought, and evoke emotional responses as well. Literature is a dynamic and evolving field. It is changing, ever changing, and it is shaped by historical, cultural, and societal context. It plays a crucial role in preserving and transmitting cultural heritages. Through the literature, the heritage, cultural heritages can be fostered, or it can develop kind of empathy on the readers. If you read the literature, you will be empathetic, or you will have a kind of, human feelings. Or literature helps to explore the complexities of societies as well. So there are various genres of literature. When we say literary genres, that refers to the distinct categories of types of literary composition that share common characteristics, forms, and conventions. Literature is the vast area for our eagerness for understanding the literature, of examining, evaluating, or describing literature. The literary scholars, they have categorized the similar types of or similar forms of their compositions, and this classification, this categorization help readers to writers to navigate the vast and diverse world of literature. So each genre has its own set of expectations, themes, styles, and narrative structures. So here are some major literary genres that I'm going to talk about today. Yeah, the first one is fiction. Fiction means imaginative. The characters, the theme, even dialogues can be imaginative, but they are very close to the reality of real society or people's life. The first one is novel. So you might have read many interesting novels out of course. The novels uh, are novel, each a long narrative work of fiction with complex characters, settings, and plot lines. So when you read the novel, you can understand the complete life events of any person or any place. The next one is short story that comes under fiction, a brief work of fiction that typically focuses on single plot or a single theme. This is what is a short story. And the next one is novella. Novella is always a shorter work of fiction that the novel, but longer than a short story. The next genre is poetry. There are different types of poetries like epic, elegy, ode, sonnet, so on and so forth. So poetries can be of different types. For example, lyric poetry that expresses personal emotions and feelings and often uses musical language. Or the lyrical poetry can be played with musical instrument or can be sung. Mm, yeah, and the narrative poetry, the poetry that narrates the story from the past, that tells a story through words, employing poetic devices and elements. So the next one, epic poetry, a long narrative poem that often involves heroic deeds and legendary figures. So these are, and beyond these, there are other types of poetry as well, like Islam poetry and other complete poetry, or let's say safe poetry, and many more. The next genre is drama. Drama, when we say drama, that comes the space, the characters, the dialogues, or performance. Drama is typically performed on the stage to entertain or inform the audience. So there are also varieties of dramas. Tragedy. Tragedy means, a serious play with a somber tone, often involving the downfall of a protagonist, or there is the, tragic end of the drama. Next one is comedy. Comedy is, kind of funny, um, funny performance, funny act, light-hearted play with a humorous tone, typically ending in a resolution of conflicts. Happy ending. You can find happy ending in a comedy. Likewise, tragic comedy. that blends elements of tragedy and comedy, combining serious and humorous elements both together, tragicomedy. So, if you remember the great dramatist or playwright like William Shakespeare or Christopher Marlowe and many more, the next genre of literature is non-fiction. When we say non-fiction, then it is to understand that it is based on the fact, or it is quite real or practical life of the people representations. For example, essay. When we say essay, a short prose or prose piece that presents an argument or explores a specific topic, maybe the essay can also be of various types, like classification essay, uh, comparison and contrast essay, descriptive essay, narrative essay, and then cause and effect essay. Essays can also be of various types. Likewise, biography can be another non-fiction literary genre. Biography means an account of a person's life from the birth to the death, written by another person. And then autobiography is also account of person's life, but written by the subject, written by the same person. Okay, with the reflective style. And the next mystery means detective fictions that involves crime or mystery, featuring the mysterious characters. Science fiction, you might have heard science fictions, what will happen, in the uh, next 10 years or next 50 years. They can imagine and create the characters and theme and dialogue and present science fiction, that is speculative fictions that explores imaginative and futuristic concepts related to science and technology. You might have watched, movies as well as, other dramas made on science fictions. Next one, fantasy. Fantasy can be literary genre, which is high fantasy set in an entirely fictional world with its own rules and mythology. Myth. We say myth, it does not have any particular, fact, factual information. All are created, all are imaginative. An urban fantasy that blends fantastic elements with contemporary urban setting, and romance, historic romance set in the past, often featuring a romantic relationship among the characters. Contemporary romance that is set in the present time, exploring modern romantic relationships, kind of thing. And horror movies, horror films, or stories, like supernatural horror. The characters can be supernatural or beyond the limitation, beyond the real uh, practical life or the world, that involves supernatural elements such as a ghost or monsters, and psychological horror that focuses on the psychological terror or fear experienced by the characters. And then historical fiction also, that is related with the history or historical events and figures. Now, let's come to the qualities of literature. After watching the definitions and literary genres of literature, you might have already summarized what are the qualities of literatures. Some qualities literature which always make the literature quite distinct or unique are artistic use of language. In literature, the author, the writer, they use artistic form of language, artistic. So rhetorics of language always makes literature interesting, motivating, like piece of literature. And the next quality of literature is expression of universal themes. The subject matter of the literature is common to all. There is no any particular, boundary or limitation of the literature. Literature can be enjoy it everywhere, every corner of the world. For example, the literature, you might, find, the examples like, the literature created in one particular context can be translated and, utilized. For example, the vegetarian Nobel Prize winners, Hang Kang's uh, novel, The Vegetarian, has been translated, which has recently got Nobel Prize in Literature, has been translated in many languages and read by the large number of population. So the literature does not have any limitation. It is based on the universal themes or subject matters. And then next one is emotional resonance. Emotional resonance means, the literature should arouse emotions on the readers or viewers or audience. So if it is a piece of literature, then it has to, feel all five senses of a human being. Like, literature can be eyes, like country, say poetry, or maybe others. Literature should feel the, uh, ear, and it has to be, um, very good for it. Likewise, exploration of human experience. So, human experience, literature always captures the human experience. So, how people have experienced their life, their uh, pains, their pleasures, sufferings, ups and downs can be captured by the literature. So, literature have the quality of human experience. Without human, there, there cannot be the literature. So, humanistic approach or human should be at the center of literature. That you have to understand. And then next one is imaginative creativity. So the piece of literature should have the imagination, should have the creativity, so that it can appeal the sense organs as human senses. And also, the quality of literature is complexity and depth. Complexity means, the literature, piece of literature can be interpreted uh, in various ways. Uh, the understanding, the interpretations of the piece of literature for me can be similar to the next person. So, literature can have multiple meanings, multiple interpretations, or it may be, its impact or effect can be deep down. And the next quality is cultural and historical reflections. So when we study literature, so we can find its attachment to the cultural context and historical context. So history is always reflected in the piece of literature and a culture also. So studying literature means studying culture as well. Studying literature means studying history as well. So next one is didactic or reflective purpose. Didactic means, or reflective means, persons reflections, persons, life stories should be reflected over there. The next one is aesthetic value. This is very, very important quality of literature. Aesthetic means, beauty. The literature should be beautiful. So it has to create kind of pleasure to the reader or audience. If it fails to create the pleasure, then it is worthless. The next one is intertextuality. Intertextuality means literature can be connected with multiple disciplines, or one piece of literature can be interpreted, in relations to the diverse field like economy, like politics, or history, or culture, society, or people's life, like this way. So these are the qualities of literatures. I hope you understood this. If you understand these qualities, then you can explain it well. I believe you understand that. So now my next question is, what makes the language of literature distinct? What are the distinctive features of literature? The language of literature can be different at phonological level. Phonological level means the sounds can be different. The ellipses, the deletions in the lines of poetry, and then or maybe graphological level also. Sometimes the spelling can be quite different, like die, which is not used in the normal or day-to-day communication or normal writing, but it can be used in literature. At lexical level as well, the language of literature can be different. The heavily loaded or high voltage words uh, can be used in literature, and also semantic. Semantic means the meaning. Meaning can be multiples. One, very simple, normal, general meaning, and another one is hidden or intentional meaning can be, there in literature. Also, the language of literature can be different at grammatical level as well. So, the language of literature is deviated from the normal or ordinary language or ordinary writings. The next one is the figures of speech. There are the literature is full of figures of speech. Figures of speech make the language of literature quite different, distinct, interesting, creative as well. For example, you can see metaphor and simile. When we say metaphor, that is the direct comparison. For example, you are my love, or you are in Nepal, you can say, Timi Jun ho, Timi Phul ho, Timi Hidayko, Spandan ho. So, uh, direct comparison. And simile is means my love is like a red rose. This is from Shakespeare's line. Uh, yeah, in simile we can use like or as, and then we compare. And similarly, others qualities maybe uh, you know, personifications in literature. The inhuman subject can be given the human qualities, and then like irony, like other many qualities, onomatopoeia and pun. So there are so many figures of speech used in literature that makes literature quite distinct. And prosodic features means like rhythm, meter, rhyme, like stress. These features make the literature quite different. So prosodic features and alliteration and assonance. I think alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of the consonant sound in the word, in the line, like full patham five thy my father lies. For sound is repeated in the beginning of the word, like the repetition of the vowel sounds in the lines of poetry is called assonance. Similarly, the cohesion and coherence can also make the literature different from others. So these are the things that you need to talk about, the distinct features of language literature. Now, let me turn to the literary theories. Literary theories means the perspectives or the frameworks through which scholars analyze and interpret the literature. So, as I already said to you, one piece of literature can be interpreted, in multiple ways by using the theoretical lenses or frameworks, which we call literary criticism as well, or the literary approaches. There are many literary approaches or theories existent or emerging, and they are quite the lenses or the perspectives for understanding the underlying principles or structure and meanings within the literary works, maybe novel or maybe in the story or maybe in the essay. So, what types of literary genre we study? we use one perspective, one theoretical lens, and study that. There are numerous literary theories, each offering a unique approach to on studying literature. Some major literary theories include formalism, which was the old form of literary theory uh, that focuses on the formal elements of a literary work, such as structure, language, and style to derive the meaning. So, this literary theory or literary criticism says that the piece of literature should be described, interpreted, and evaluated based on its structure, language, and style. Next one is structuralism that examines literature as a system of signs and symbols that emphasizes the relationship between the elements and their contribution to meaning. Structuralist Structuralism has come from the linguistics, and there structuralism means the meaning can be. It believes that the meaning can be made from the sum of the elements contained in the literary text. The next literary criticism is psychoanalytic criticism. Psychoanalytic is related with the psychology that applies the psychological concepts, particularly those of Sigmund Freud. You might have heard the Sigmund Freud's the mind or consciousness or the dream or the ego and superego, and then to analyze the character, symbols, and themes within the literature. Next one is Marxist criticism that explores literature in terms of socio-economic uh, and a political context, examining how power dynamics and class structures are represented in the literary text, how people or how particular text has represented the uh, suppression or marginalizations or let's say inequalities, power balance there. So Marxist criticisms looks at this from from that perspective. And yeah, feminist criticism. Another one is feminist criticism. In the feminist criticism, women's are at the center. Women are at the center. That feminist criticism analyzes literature through the lens of gender, exploring how women and gender roles are portrayed and addressing issues of patriarchy and gender inequality in the text or literature. So, through the analysis of literature, we can understand how the then society uh, discriminated male and female, or how one dominated another. Maybe our society is composed of different genders, and particularly it is said that we have patriarchy or male domination. Next one is post-colonial criticism. Post-colony means, once, the superpower countries like, like Britain. Once Britain was superpower that colonized many countries in the world, and then kept in the politically controlled way, ruled over other territory and left some impact. So after the end of colonization, the people felt free to write, create the literature, and the suppression of colonialism, the experience of the people who were represented in the literature. That is, that is the uh, representations in literature. And post-colonial criticism examines the presentation of colonized culture and the impact of colonialism in literature, often focusing on the issues of identity, power, and resistance. And the next literary criticism is deconstruction or deconstructionism. Deconstructionism, where Friedrich Nietzsche Jacques Derrida are dominant. The concept of deconstructionism was coined by them and explored and explained by them. So, deconstructionism challenges traditional notions of meaning and truth, emphasizing the instability and ambiguity of language in literary text. Language can be factual, or the meaning can be multiple, or truth even can multiple truths, or contextual, or relative truths. There is no single truth or single reality. The deconstructionist theories believes on that. Next one is cultural criticism. Cultural criticism always keeps uh, culture at the center, or the investigates literature within its cultural context, considering how societal norms, beliefs, and values influence the creation and reception of literary works. So, cultural criticism regards literature as the production of culture or cultural production. And beside this, there are other literary theories as well. For example, you can see, uh, yeah, American African literary criticism. So that examines the uh, you know black people's representation in the literature, and likewise Asian studies or Asian criticism, whether the Asian context are explored or not, whether the Asian people's living life experiences are included in the literature. This is examined like this way. Likewise, queer theory. Queer theory means LGBTQ plus. LGBTQ means here L means lesbian, G means gay, B means bisexual, T means transgender, and Q means queer. This means that no, this means the marginalized, suppressed gender or biased genders role are analyzed through the literature, and this perspective is called queer theory as well. So, beside this, there can be other types like eco-criticism. Eco-criticism can emphasize the representation of ecology in the literature. So ecological balances, whether the piece of literature represents the ecology or environment or not. So these are the things. I hope you understood the explanations. Thank you very much for listening, for watching this video. If you like this, please like, leave the comment if you have any, and also please subscribe the channel for getting information or more updated videos later. Thank you very much once again. See you in the next video. Bye bye.